Hello, my name's Karina and welcome to my allotment. I'm going to do a tour of the plot for you. I'll just spin you around. At the moment we're in the Polytunnel, so I'll just give you a good view of the tunnel from one end to the other. It's quite a big tunnel, quite a big undertaking when we put this tunnel up, as you'll see when we go around the rest of the plot, because some things have been left to fall by the wayside slightly. So this is our cucumbers, and we've taken a tip from Charles Dowding and decided to put string up for the cucumbers to grow up rather than using garden canes. These are our melon plants. We've also got some pumpkin plants which are ready to go out, some tomato plants which need planting, a cucumber there as well, another one that we forgot to plant. These are Romero peppers, and we had quite a few spares as well. We just planted the seeds from shop bought peppers once we'd eaten them, and were surprised at how many we actually got. So as you can see over that side, there's more peppers there as well behind the citrus trees. And then this is the salad bay in the centre. So we've got our spring onions, radish. We need to plant more radish because we've just had a good harvest of the radish. We've got celeriac and spinach, some rocket which is actually bolted, which means it's gone to seed, and then that's a sprinkler system that we've set up to try and make watering a bit easier. As you can imagine, especially when we've had hot weather, watering is a big undertaking. So we've got lettuce and French beans, and then we've just sowed some herbs. So we've got chilli, sorrel, fennel and kale, but nothing's showing itself at the moment. They've only just gone in. And on this side of the tunnel we've got tomatoes, and then, like I said before, the peppers up at the top there. So that's the Polytunnel. Now what I'm going to do next is take you outside and show you the flower beds. We have sweet peas, they're just growing up this trellis that we made, and we've got dahlias planted here, and along this back wall we've got sunflowers. They do need staking up now, they're getting to the point where they're falling over, and obviously we've got an apple tree there as well. And then these are our lilies. Some of them are baby lilies that we used from splitting the bulbs last year, so we've made a bit of a nursery for them, and they'll come out of here and go back into the greenhouse over the winter. And these are more well established lilies. As you can see, one of them's going to be opening pretty soon. And then here I've got a big stand of cornflowers. Now I actually make bath bombs and bath salts, and I do use petals of the flowers in the bath bombs, which is why I like to grow a good variety. I've not been able to get as many as I'd like this year because of the situation with the virus, so obviously a lot of places have been closed and it's been difficult to get hold of things. But cornflowers are a particular favourite when I'm making the bath bombs. The petals are beautiful when they dissolve and go into the bath. Here I've got some Dutch irises. As you can see, again, one's just starting to open up there. And at the back of the Dutch irises, I've got asters. All looking a little bit dry. I think I'm going to need to give them some TLC. And then over on the last flower bed for this year, because I've not been able to get as many as I'd like, I've got some candy tuft at the front, zinnias behind, then we have Sweet Williams, I believe. Yes, Sweet Williams, and calendulas in the centre. Beautiful orange flowers on the calendulas. Again, they'll look nice in the bath bombs. And we have gladioli at the back, just starting to poke their heads through. So that's the flower patch and the polytunnel covered. Okay, so we've had a look at the polytunnel and we've had a look at the flowers. This is our greenhouse behind me, if you can see there. So let's take you inside and we'll see what's happening in there. So down here we've grown asparagus. Now we're going to dig a bed for the asparagus to go in that's further up the veg plot. And we've got one-day lilies, they're going home. We've got a large planter that we've just made that they're going to go into back at home. And I've got a peony that came from my father-in-law. He was, I believe, pruning his peony, and my husband said, oh, we'll take a cutting from that because obviously we all love peonies. So there we go, and I've not killed it yet, so that's successful as far as I'm concerned. Now this is our grapevine. As you can see, it's quite well established. It's been here about 6 years and we're getting quite a lot of grapes on it this year. I believe this is a red variety, and we're going to have a go at making some wine this year. This is our pomegranate tree. We've not had a pomegranate on it yet. We've had this for about 3 years, and it was a small twig when we bought it, and it's now, as you can see, grown massively in size. So we're hopeful that we'll get something from it this year, maybe, if not next. Now there, I believe, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but Acidanthera, and we planted those this year. It's the first year we've managed to actually grow these. We've tried a few years and failed every time. Not entirely sure why, but I'm quite pleased that they've come this year. And again, they're going to go home and go into the raised plant that we've built on the garden. And I'll just show you here, we harvested our garlic over the weekend. We weren't sure if it was going to be ready or not, and then we saw another allotment channel which said that they'd actually harvested their garlic, so we thought, oh, maybe we ought to have a look at ours, because obviously if you do leave it too late, then it can go mouldy and ruin, and then you've lost out on all your lovely garlic. So luckily we were just in time. We did lose a few. It has started to go a little bit mouldy, so we did lose a few, but as you can see, we've still had a really good crop. And basically I think the rule of thumb is that if the bottom 3-4 leaves are going yellow, then it's time to harvest. So we've got some sweet corn as well, which is waiting to go in. We need to extend the sweet corn bed so that we can fit that in. And we've got some dahlias growing at the back there, nicotiana, and some more sweet corn. We've also got a banana tree down in this corner, looking a little bit sorry for itself. It needs some TLC and definitely some weeding in the pot underneath. But all in all, it's quite healthy. It's got a new shoot coming off the top, so it's not too unhappy. Now this is our sweet corn patch. I've just come outside of the greenhouse. As you can see, we've got a child, 9-year-old boy, who's got all of his little bits and bobs here to entertain him while we're busy gardening. Now this is where the rain recently had a big effect. So these are the peas. We had to net them over to protect them from the pigeons. We came over one evening quite late and found the pigeons already there munching on the peas. So we've netted them over and then forgotten about them, as we've been so busy building the polytunnel, and as you can see, it's desperate for a weed now and uncovering in there. So that'll be a job for this weekend. We've got raised beds here. Now that was where the garlic was harvested from. We've got a bed here that's got strawberries. I believe the varieties are Cambridge Favourites and Schindler. So some of these are ripening quite nicely already. You can see a couple over here that's going to be ready in a few days' time. And in this bed we've got some well-established asparagus. Now obviously you can't see much of it because we do harvest it regularly for food, and it was Sunday yesterday, so we had it with our Sunday lunch. But there's a few there that we've allowed to go to seed so that they'll be bigger and stronger next year. The rule is do not harvest asparagus unless it's at least a pencil's thickness. And then in this bed we had daffodils, and we've got some lilies. Obviously the daffodils are finished now, but we've left them in so far so that the energy can go back into the bulb, ready for next year. Now if I take you over here, this is where we have all of our brassicas. So we've got cabbage and broccoli, purple sprouting broccoli I believe this one is, that's coming up at the moment. As you can see, again, it's been completely annihilated by the pigeons. We tried to prevent that by tying these bags onto these lines, but they seem to have gotten wise to it, and it's not stopped them from eating it all. But we're hoping it's going to come back, so we've not given up on it just yet. And again, as you can see, the weeds are a real problem this year. Number one, because like I said, we've been working on the polytunnel, and number two, because of the rain that we had over the last few days. So the weeds have really come up. Now these are our potato buckets. We've decided we're going to grow all of our potatoes in buckets this year. And behind that is a carrot bed, but we believe that that's probably going to be no good, and we've got to uncover it, weed it all, and then rethink about the carrots. We're considering possibly putting them where we've taken the garlic out of the raised beds, so that's something we're going to have a think about this weekend as well. Now over here we have our nature pond area, so got some beautiful red hot pochers coming there, and then this is the actual nature pond. We get so much coming to visit. We had dragonflies last year. We actually had a dragonfly larva in the pond this year, and we watched that hatch, which was amazing. We've had newts, we've got tadpoles, everything that you could possibly want in a nature pond, we seem to have managed to have it here, so that's really good. We've also got sticklebacks swimming around in there. I can't actually see any at the moment, they're probably all hiding underneath the pond lily. So that's that part. We do have a little tank with a filter in there at the back and a waterfall that runs into the pond, so that it obviously disturbs the water and aerates it for the life living in there. So it needs oxygen just like we all do. And just beside the pond is the foxgloves. Now these were all taken from seed from my mother-in-law's garden last year, and we just threw them on the ground. We weren't entirely sure. We tried before planting them and being meticulous, and nothing ever happened. So we would go down to Devon quite a lot for holidays, and we noticed that they seem to grow in the hedgerows down in Devon quite a lot. So we thought, maybe we've been too pernickety with it and we should just throw them down, and look what happened. Beautiful foxgloves. And just behind there where you can see the purple, we've planted a wildflower part there, and it's currently full of bees buzzing around. So that's the nature part of the allotment, one of our favourite parts to come and sit when we've been busy working on the allotment. And at the back, just behind the nature part there, you can see that's our composting bin. Well, composting bay, it's a bit bigger than a bin. We built that this year because we haven't been able to get compost, same as most of us I imagine, because of the virus. So we've had to think on our feet and try and come up with a way of solving that problem should it ever arise again in the future. So we've started a composting bay, and hopefully this time next year we should have our own compost. And then to the side there we've got some water tanks. We're going to set up a watering system, so it gets rid of the need for watering cans and carrying water up and down the plot. It's quite a big plot, as you can probably see. And then just at the side of the shed we've got some salad bays that are currently covered over to try and stop the pigeons again from eating all the salad. This is where we keep our grapevines. So as you can see, they're not doing too well this year. We've had really dry weather, which they didn't seem to like too much. No matter how much we watered them, it was never enough. Then we had the terribly high wind and the rain that lashed down over the weekend last week, and they just decided they're not going to be too healthy this year. But we have quite a few grapevines on here, so all different varieties, red, white, seedless, and hopefully next year they will come back with an abundance and do much better. So after the grapevines we've got a little section that we've set up for our son, our little boy, to come and enjoy, because he enjoys being over at the allotment with us as well. And he's planted a few little flowers. He's got some sweet peas growing up a wigwam there, a few strawberries, got some flowers on there, so they should produce some fruit. And of course no allotment plot is complete without a scarecrow. Okay, so that's it from me today. I hope you've enjoyed having a look around our allotment plot. We've got plenty of work that we can be doing over the next few days, so there'll be plenty of videos. I'm also going to do some videos at home on the garden, where we've got so much work to do there as well. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you again soon.